Teamer aggro versus Esper, God Pharaoh's Gift on Brennan's side. Looks like Seeker's Squire actually also added to Brennan's deck. 4 of here.
Just another way to mise creatures into the graveyard.
Yeah, so a fair amount of upgrades then for Brennan's deck. For Aaron's, this is almost the same deck as he would have played last standard. And I'll have a turn 2 Attune. And plays Greenbelt Rampager, spending the energy right away. Gets a 3/4 on turn 2.
This is comparable to the power level of Tarmogoyf when it was standard legal.
Brennan has zone 1 drop, Minister of Inquiries, and then he'll push away the Greenbelt Rampager.
Fatal Push good against the Tarmogoyfs of all shapes and sizes.
We see Voltaic Brawler from Aaron. Now in Brennan's deck, he's going to use Minister of Inquiries on himself here.
Yep. This is not a mill deck. This is a deck that just puts creatures in its graveyard, either as payoffs with its God Pharaoh's Gift, or as just ways to trigger his Gate to the Afterlife, get enough creatures in the graveyard for that.
Yeah, he'll go ahead and try for Gate to the Afterlife, and Aaron, with that 1 main deck Spell Pierce, puts it into the graveyard.
And he has a split. He has fewer than the full 4 Blossoming Defense, playing just that 1 Spell Pierce, and for reasons like that.
Yeah, and so a swing with Voltaic Brawler, and then cast a Bristling Hydra. 6 energy available to protect the Hydra. Brennan will start milling himself.
Saw a Hostage Taker hitting the graveyard. That one plays really nicely with God Pharaoh's Gift.
It's really good. Now, Brennan has fortunately picked up another copy of Gate to the Afterlife, so he'll get to continue to work on that plan. But he's under the gun right now with where damage is concerned. 7 power on Aaron's side. Potential to pump Brawler, give it trample. It's I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 2-turn clock as it stands. And here is Gate to the Afterlife. We'll go ahead and look at that one again. This card was a bit of a teaser. It was printed before God Pharaoh's Gift. So whenever his own creatures die, he can gain life. Then he may draw and discard. For 2 tap sacrifice, he can put a God Pharaoh's Gift onto the battlefield, and he needs to have 6 or more creature cards to do that in his graveyard, which right now it looks like he has 2. He has just 2, Hostage Taker and Minister of Inquiries, so he has more work to do.
Yeah, with the hubs, he does get multiple Minister of Inquiries activations. He'll be able to do 1 on this turn, energy left over for 1 on the following turn as well.
A swing from Aaron puts Brennan down to 9. He spent 1 energy on Voltaic Brawler. Aaron mills a 3rd creature. Now, Brennan does. Now, Aaron's hand is a Blossoming Defense and a Harnessed Lightning. Together, I would expect this next attack to be lethal.
Very good chance of it. If you see Brennan at the end step, only with 1 creature on the battlefield, go ahead, Harness Lightning that one down. Going to be really easy to convert lethal in the following turn with that done.
Now, what Brennan is hoping to do is to make the card God Pharaoh's Gift. It's not on the screen. We'll go ahead and look at what that one's going to do when he hits it. At the beginning of combat on Brennan's turn, he may basically eternalize a creature, and it gains haste out of his graveyard. It'll be Seeker's Squire as a blocker for Brennan. It explores and puts a land into Brennan's hand.
Yeah, the idea for Brennan playing this card is he wants to find creatures on top of his deck and put them immediately in the graveyard. Drawing a land, you know, that I guess it's upside. In this situation, though, he's under a lot of pressure. He really just needs to go off and get that God Pharaoh's Gift and gain some life.
Fatal Push. He'll put that one in the graveyard, but that means the Squire becomes a 2/3. And then plays a tap land. He'll say go. 1 energy remaining for Brennan to continue to try to mill. What he also can do here is, because he's played these Squires, he can use them to chump block. And I would assume next turn he'll have enough to God Pharaoh's Gift.
Well, the question is it on time?
Right.
Getting a Vigilant Lifelinker, if he's able to set that up, he does have that Angel in his graveyard already, so bringing that one back can swing a game in a big way.
Sure. Aaron's going to attack with both. Looks like he'll give trampled that Voltaic Brawler, so 8 power in play. And Brennan going for the full set of blocks. If all these creatures die, he will have enough creatures in the graveyard. Now, Aaron actually is not going to, it's not enough damage to kill both of these Seeker Squires, but he'll make it so. Here's Blossoming Defense on Aaron's side.
And Brennan will gain some life for his chump blocks here because of that gate.
Yeah, Champion of Wits and Hostage Taker into the yard for Brennan, so plenty of creatures. Yeah, it looks like he'll gain 3 life off all 3 of these creatures hitting the graveyard.
do some looting.
That's a 6/5 Voltaic Brawler. It tramples for 1. Brennan will take 1, gain 3, go to 11. And then 3 drawn discards. Champion of Wits into the graveyard and deciding on that third one.
Looks like he has a Chart a Course in hand.
Yeah, Chart a Course, Champion of Wits. He'll discard the Chart a Course. And we'll play one of those Rootbound Crags and pass. But plenty of creatures for Brennan. And what I'm interested in is which creature he's going to give haste to first with Godfarer's Gift. Angel Invention looks pretty good here.
Yeah, the 2 options are Angel Invention, just because you get to put the counters on it, make it a 6/6 haste, vigilance, lifelink, fly over with that. Or you can take Hostage Taker and get rid of the 2-mana creature on the side there, the Voltaic
and
Brawler.
cast it immediately.
Right, that's give you a nice little blocker there. You won't be able to get the Bristling Hydra, because it 4 energy is more than enough to give it hexproof. Though you could start wearing it down.
Yeah,
but right away, I think getting the Angel in the battlefield is just better.
Here's Angel of Invention. Flying, Vigilance, Lifelink. And make it haste thanks to Godfarer's Gift. And he's actually not going to make the servos. He's going to put the counters straight on it. And Aaron's going to harness Lightning it.
It'll stop Brennan
Did
from
have
gaining
enough
any
energy,
life.
yeah.
Though Aaron does need some help if he wants to get lethal on the following turn.
Aaron needed, what, 6 energy? He needed 3 energy in reserves to cast that, which means in spending it, he no longer has the energy for Bristling Hydra.
Yep. That means that Brennan could potentially hit that with a Hostage Taker next turn, which would be a huge swing in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, there's another Angel, I think, in his hand. If Brennan gets another Godfarer's Gift, it's likely good enough.
Yes. Glacial Fortress, land drop for the turn there. We go back to Barich.
Yeah, and Brennan got to play Seeker's Squire as another blocker. So he has 11 life, a 1/2 in play. It looks like he'll be safe for another turn.
Yeah, and this deck really, it was just kind of looking for more chump blockers. So Seeker Squire really does its job. It's gained a bunch of life just getting in front of creatures.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Brennan would like to hit a land every time with this. You know, the Elvish Visionary style card is, I think,
he's
a 1/2
missing land drops. Yeah, he must put creatures in his graveyard is the real incentive to play this card.
I guess it does do both. Yeah, I was going to say, make the 2/3s not very appealing.
Yeah.
You see a chump block from Brennan, another Voltaic Brawler from Aaron.
Yeah, the 2/3 part, that doesn't matter.
Right.
His deck doesn't need a ton of lands to operate, though. He does need a lot of creatures in the graveyard.
All right, so lands, 6 lands in play for Brennan. Looks like a 7th in hand. His hand has Champion of Wits and Angel of Invention, and he's going to have that Godfarer's Gift trigger to work with. Options, he's got Seeker Squire, Champion of Wits, Hostage Taker, and Minister of Inquiries.
And with that Brawler making 2 more energy, the Hydra can gain hexproof again,
Right.
so that makes the Hostage Taker less appealing.
Can't take the Hydra hostage. Could take a Brawler hostage. Just the 2-for-1's not bad.
Yep.
Champion of Wits is going to be the play. It looks like Brennan's land was a tap land. So he could not hostage take Brawler, play Angel. He's won because the mana's tapped.
Sure.
So he's going to go for Champion. He's left up enough mana to still take that card hostage, but it looks like he's going to use Champion of Wits. He discarded Angel Invention. He's going to eternalize it now off Godfarer's Gift.
Just determined that getting Angel here is just way better for him than going for Hostage Taker this turn.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron had no cards in hand, so this was guaranteed to work. And a 6-point light swing, you know, a flying 6/6 lifelink, Vigilance. Aaron's unlikely to beat that. He draws a Forest, both players at 14. This one looks to be over and in Brennan's favor. Aaron had gotten him very close to dead, but with the unanswered Angel of Invention, DeCandio is going to take this one.
Yeah, with the energy available, the Bristling Hydra won't even get large enough to trade with the Angel in combat.
Right, and Aaron scoops up the card. So Brennan DeCandio will take the first game here with Esper Godfarer's Gift. A deck that's got some pretty powerful upgrades. I liked Seeker's Squire a lot there. Hostage Taker, we actually never saw him cast.
And because of specifically Bristling Hydra is likely the reason that you saw that. There's other matchups where that would have been slam dunk the card to put on the battlefield there.
And Chart a Course is really neat for this deck in a lot of ways. He actually is a creature deck, so he can draw 2 off it frequently. Also, he may not want to draw 2 off it. He may want to discard that creature card.
Right. Yeah, it's the reason that you only see 2 Chart a Course is that his deck really just would prefer to have Seeker's Squire. If it bins a creature off of its Explore activation, that's good. It chump blocks, gets into the graveyard.
I think what it does with the lists, too, is with the Esper Godpharaoh's Gift, we sometimes saw Gate to the Afterlife builds. We sometimes saw refurbished style builds. With all these extra ways to put creatures into the graveyard, I like the Gate to the Afterlife build a lot now.
Yes.
We will go over to the sideboards between the players. So on Aaron Barich's side, he was the loser of game 1 here. He's got 4 negates, 2 abrades, 2 magma sprays, and then some one-ofs of Sweltering Suns, Confiscation Coup, Ronus the Indomitable, Life Goes On, and then a second Spell Pierce. The only Ixalan cards we saw were the Spell Pierce and then the Life Gain spell. So probably not good here, but do you like any of the other cards?
So you really want to stop Brennan from assembling a Godpharaoh's Gift long enough to win. You don't want to go heavy on interaction so much that it stops you from actually killing Brennan.
Right.
But the extra Spell Pierce, the Abrades, those do a good job of keeping Brennan at bay.
I am interested about Spell Pierce and how good it actually is here. So those 4 Gate to the Afterlives are really worthy of a Spell Pierce, but you look at the rest of Brennan's deck, I'm looking at the deck list here, it starts with 26 creatures. Can Aaron actually count on Spell Pierce to be a card here?
Well, the thing about it is, for most of these creatures, resolving them on their own doesn't matter. They're just kind of mopey, they'll get in the way, they'll buy a turn. You wouldn't counter them if you're counterspell targeted creatures. The exception is going to be those 5-mana lifelink creatures, the Angel of Invention, the Vona Butcher of Magan, that kind of stuff you'd counter if you could. You'd probably leave in your Harness Lightning, so it's another way to punch through. But you do want to make sure that you're able to actually deal with every copy of Gate to the Afterlife, Godpharaoh's Gift.
All right, now on Brennan's side, his sideboard, it's another one, and that we've seen starting with 4 Duress, 3 Negate. If this is a trend, it's going to have interesting. I'll talk more about that later with what that means for the format. His other cards: 3 Vraska's Contempt, 2 Cataclysmic Gearhulk, 2 copies of the Scarab God, and 1 Fatal Push. That would be his 4th Fatal Push.
Yeah, Vraska's Contempt certainly on the draw is probably a little too slow for this matchup, so the Fatal Push will buy Brennan time to set up. And there's a good argument for the Scarab God, especially because you know that your deck can be a little bit vulnerable to Abrade in some spots. The Scarab God just gets online, way more low maintenance on that front. It's also just a 5/5 blocker. Yeah,
it's interesting. Despite being a very different style blue deck, Brennan's deck is another, much like the Brewed Approach deck, it's another deck where we see where they have some plan A game 1, and then they board into blue Gearhulks and some Scarab Gods, or what have you, some 5s and 6s. Those seem to be the go-to ones.
Yep.
For the second time, I guess, we're seeing another blue deck that only plays blue Gearhulk out of the sideboard, which it's a strange trend to be seeing.
That's white Gearhulk.
Oh, that's the white Gearhulk.
Yeah.
My apologies. You're right. It is Cataclysmic Gearhulk. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that was something that initially these Godpharaoh's Gifts, they just main decked a bunch of.
Right.
And ultimately, Angel of Sanctions ended up being the better haymaker to have in the deck. You still want this against the go-wide decks. You can really reset them.
Okay. So is this going wide enough to Cataclysmic Gearhulk, or?
Aaron's at most going to control 3, maybe 4 creatures. You'd probably just fine having some lifelink thing. Also, Aaron gets to keep. He gets to choose, and is probably usually going to be the Bristling Hydra that you couldn't deal with otherwise, where the other stuff just matters less.
All right, well, they are underway already for a second game here. Aaron will turn to Heart of Kiran. He has all 3 of his colors already in play. And Brennan will be Seeker's Squire, shows Angel Invention. He'll put that creature into the graveyard and make a 2/3.
Nailed it. That's exactly what Brennan wants this card to do.
Yeah, not bad. Hopefully he can chump block with it and get 2 creatures in the graveyard. Voltaic Brawler from Barich. He'll spend the energy to make Greenbelt Rampager, crew the Heart of Kiran, and swing for 4.
Really fast start here for Barich.
Yeah. And I see what you're mentioning. Even though Aaron has 3 threats, like a Cataclysmic Gearhulk doesn't do much here. Another Seeker's Squire from Brennan. Another Angel Invention. We've seen this play before. We're putting that in the graveyard too. Play Aether Hub, get an energy, and pass. He could have a Fatal Push here. He has drawn 1 of his 2 copies of Godpharaoh's Gift. Not really what he ever plans to do.
A little tough to cast.
Ronus the Indomitable for Aaron. That's going to crew Heart of Kiran, and all 3 creatures are going to swing. Spends the energy to make Voltaic Brawler a 4/3. This is a huge beating. All things said and done here, this is 11 damage. Brennan will double block the Brawler.
And next turn, that Ronus is just going to make combat really tough. The Seeker Squire really not executing on its chump blocking plan here.
Brennan goes to 9. Now, Brennan does have Hostage Taker.
Okay. That can deal with either the Ronus or the Heart.
Yeah, it's good. It's good enough. Unclear.
He'll check Aaron for a Harness Lightning.
I feel like it has to take the Ronus here, as much as I know Heart of Kuran. Heart of Kuran's going to kill Brennan in 3 turns, but Ronus is going to kill him faster, so you need to take care of the god.
Yeah, it's not an easy spot for DeCandio to recover from. Yeah, I think this is just one of those games where when Barich starts like this, Brennan's losing 90+% of these games.
Well, and a lot of it's on the deck sheet, right? So Brennan has basically tapped out each turn for the card in his hand that cost the amount of mana he could pay. And if that is not good enough, you can't play yourself out of that kind of hole.
Right.
Like, yeah, I cast my spells. They weren't good enough.
We'll see if Barich has a Blossoming Defense here or some such.
Barich has Blossoming Defense. I'd be interested to see if he even were to use it. Heart of Kuran was the target, and Aaron lets him take it. Interested, so Brennan chooses to take that instead of the Ronus.
Possibly respecting Blossoming Defense.
Yeah, so now Ronus is going to make Greenbelt Rampager a 5/4. And a double block here. Hostage Taker dies. Brennan goes to 4. Aaron gets his Heart of Kuran back and casts Voltaic Brawler.
And Brennan has to make something big happen this turn.
Can you take a vehicle hostage?
Artifact or creature?
No, I know, but more like...
Oh, sure. Flavor.
Yeah,
Is a flavor fail?
Well, I understand a pirate stealing your boat. We're good with that. Like they commandeered your boat. I don't know if I'd call it a hostage. More like he stole it.
Yeah, there's implied people on the boat.
Okay.
There are many hostages.
I would think then if a creature had crewed Heart of Kuran and he stole it, Brennan should get the creature too.
William Lowe and Chris Eustace, your next round.
Ronus will crew the Heart of Kuran. Voltaic Brawler will attack, as will the Heart of Kuran.
You gotta figure if you're willing to kidnap a person, you're willing to steal property. That translates pretty obviously.
Here's Vraska's Contempt on the Heart of Kuran. But the Voltaic Brawler is still attacking for 4. And Aaron's going to braid away the blocker and give his guy Trample. Brennan cannot stop that amount of damage. So we are on to a 3rd game. Barich ties that one up.
And that was the kind of situation where Barich's deck presents a lot of leftovers that those last 2 cards could have been that would have made it lethal somehow. Spell Pierce on the Vraska's Contempt, Blossoming Defense over the last couple turns.
Well, one of the things that if you ever watch all the Aaron Barich style decks, what he likes to build with his decks is build them low to the ground where it's almost all 2-mana spells, like an Aaron Barich deck. There'll be 1 and 2 mana spells, but they'll be the biggest impact 1 and 2 mana spells of the format, and he frequently will play a very greedy mana base so that he can play all of these cards. And this is on that, on that path again.
Yeah. With the attunes here, he does have pretty high access to all of his colors. The energy deck, really the highest access to 3-color mana base in the format.
All right, these players are going to get ready for a 3rd game here to decide it. Brennan will be back on the play. Now, over StarCityGames.com, we have our invitational token. That was Brian Koval winning our invitational. He chose his token to be the 1/1 monk creature that was both, I believe there were in his modern deck, and also he plays a lot of vintage as well. This is first the Monastery Mentor token. Brian, an eternal aficionado here. He was the winner of our open. He has our exclusive art now on the card here. You see both Ancestral Recall and Mox Sapphire in the picture.
They were not in his modern deck.
They were not in his modern deck?
The thing about Death and Taxes, it's a white creature deck. Monastery Mentor is a white creature, but triggering it off of Ether Vials is really not where you want to be.
Well, I mean, you have to do something with your turn 4 Ether Vial, right?
It was a Thraben Inspector deck.
Right, did have those. But you can now get this one all season long here in Season 2 on the SCG Tour. It's given away to all open participants from the main event, anyone playing in any of our Sunday classics. And if you can't make it out to one of our weekends, they will ship in any order from StarCityGames.com of at least $5. They'll be given away now through our Season 2 Invitational in December.
Got a Legacy Open coming up in DC late in October. Blue-white Monastery Mentor fairly popular deck right now.
How many do you need? How many Monastery Mentor tokens if you're going to play the deck?
100. I guess usually if you have 5, you can make a lethal attack pretty easily. But you're making more monks while you do it, so you probably need like 9 or 10.
But I could skip those triggers, right? And then I'd still win.
You can't just leave that value on the table.
Oh, I like doing that.
It's about sending a message, which I guess not
no,
making your monks
that's sending
does.
your message, yeah. You're missing, you're doing project, you're not making the monks. You're like, I know.
No need.
There's different kind of messages, right? The way you can style with your win, you can either deal as much damage as possible, or you can deal exactly 20.
Yeah. Really comes down to the type of opponent you're playing against. If they're not going to concede, I'll run up the score. If they are going to concede, I'll just like, I want to get the game over as fast as possible.
I'm like the play with your food kind of variety. It's like when I play, if I'm playing blue-white or something and I've won, instead of casting the win con, I just won't. It's like, what? Gotta leave up these counters. The counters are great.
I can't lose if I just leave up this disallow.
If I leave up like 3 disallows, he's got a 2-card hand. Just probably can't lose here. I don't really need to cast this. Like you should cast an end step. Girok can attack him. I'm like, well, I don't need to do that.
I could.
Or you should cast an end step Glimmer. Like, I could. And then I draw a card. I'm like, ooh. Looks like we didn't do anything on the end step. That's fine. Brennan DeCandio on 6 cards here for our 3rd game, but he'll start off with a turn to Seeker's Squire. Had to use his Aether Hub mana to make it and put a Hostage Taker into the graveyard. Was hoping for a land, didn't get it there. Did he get one here? No. Has some Champion of Wits. He will attack for 2.
Yeah, that'll be castable off of Island, but he needs to find a 3rd land.
Right. Seeker Squire, he was hoping would do the trick. It even scryed him one deeper when it didn't find the land. Aaron will cast Rogue Refiner.
That one always good for a card.
Yeah. It's actually the top of Aaron's curve, which I kind of like.
Very into that.
Here's Champion of Wits. Brennan did find an island there on turn 4. And he'll have some lands set up going forward. Most of them might come into play, tapped, looks like. Concealed. Now he finds his Concealed Courtyards now that he has 3 lands in play, but
perfect.
Discards Angel of Invention and another Champion of Wits. So 3 creatures in the graveyard for Brennan.
Both of his creatures can profitably trade, or I guess he's in the market for a trade, so they can trade with the Rogue Refiner. And
Aaron has land 4 and Gate to the Afterlife in his hand. He'd be very happy to trade one of these creatures away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, already 3 creatures in the graveyard, so halfway to having active Gate.
Yeah, looks like on Aaron's hand, he's got Concealed Courtyard, Fatal Push, Gate to the Afterlife, and Hostage Taker. So Aaron will start with Attune. Aaron has actually come out very slow here. On the draw, for Aaron's first play to be a turn 3 Rogue Refiner, and then on turn 4 to just be casting Attune, that is not presenting a very good threat. Mm-hmm. And he does care about his speed here. If we get into the mid and late game, Aaron's going to get overpowered by a lot. He'll attack Rogue Refiner. And Aaron attempts to trade with Champion. Aaron will Blossoming Defense and then cast Heart of Curon. But all things said, this is a fine exchange for Brennan.
Yeah, that's not a great trade there for Aaron. The heart here, that is significant.
Yeah, Brennan, a bit of a miss there. Draws a 2nd Gate to the Afterlife. That'll be fine. Now we'll see if Aaron can get damage, and another Rogue Refiner puts him up to 8 energy. That'll be able to crew. Now, I'm interested as to whether or not Aaron wants to offer a Refiner as a trade here. He's going to crew Heart of Curon. We'll see if the 3/2 swings in, though. It would be the 5th creature in Brennan's graveyard. He's got to be concerned.
Right, and especially now with the Gate on the battlefield.
Right?
Brennan gets to loot and gain a life with the block.
Aaron's going to do it. Here's the swing. And he abrades away the Gate to the Afterlife. But the trade does happen. Brennan goes to 16. Now, Brennan does have another Gate to the Afterlife. He, interestingly enough here, drew a copy of God Pharaoh's Gift. He really would like to not draw the 2nd one. As they play 2 copies as kind of an insurance policy. Now, I guess Gate does. He can put in a play from his hand, even with Gate.
It's a blank
strange.
draw step.
Yeah.
It searches every zone, except
except
exile.
Okay, so he can still do that.
It's just you don't want to draw it because you just have a dead card in your hand.
Crew and swing from Aaron. Fatal Push will take care of the Heart of Kiran. Brennan will go to 13, and Aaron will replace the vehicle.
Yeah, that's pretty perfect.
But he's only got Brennan down to 13. And you have to remember there's the Gate to the Afterlife in play. 5 creatures in the graveyard.
And Brennan with a hostage taker in
Yeah.
hand.
But there's an Angel of Invention in the yard. As soon as Brennan makes this God Pharaoh's Gift, this game's going to turn around.
I think that Barich has a confiscation coup in his hand.
Okay. So he has enough energy. He wants to take the God Pharaoh's Gift? Let Brennan make it and then take it from him?
You could just take the Gate as well so that Brennan doesn't get to activate anything.
If you take the Gate, then Aaron doesn't have a God Pharaoh's Gift in his own deck.
Oh my God, you're right.
It's not good. Unless that searches every zone. I don't think you can play it out of your opponent's graveyard.
Yeah, typically the avoid stuff that does that.
Search your opponent's deck for a card named God Pharaoh's Gift. Hostage Taker will take the Heart of Kiran from Aaron. See Aaron sitting on a Spell Pierce in hand. Swings the pair of 3/2s. He offers the trade. It would be the 6th creature in the graveyard for Brennan, and he'll accept. 3 damage in, Brennan down to 10.
Pretty into confiscation coup here.
Brennan discarding a God Pharaoh's Gift. See what see what else he has covered. Does he have the other Braid, I guess?
Yeah, Braid would be really nice as well.
I like the play because I like flashy plays more than I should. I want to let him make the God Pharaoh's Gift.
Sure.
Long Tusk Cub and Voltaic Brawler.
Yeah, if you figure that you're ahead after the first activation, and Barich does have a significant board presence, certainly with these other 2 creatures entering the battlefield here.
I just want to start eternalizing my things.
Yep.
Here is God Pharaoh's Gift from Brennan DeCandio, and I'm really looking forward to this confiscation coup.
Eternalizing Rogue Refiner sounds pretty nice. I might not even attack. I just keep doing that.
Just make an army of Rogue Refiners.
Brennan cracks it at the upkeep so as not to draw the God Pharaoh's Gift.
Sure. Smart play. Takes the one out of his deck, not the one out of his graveyard. Got some options here, does Brennan. Hostage Taker and Angel of Invention, I think, are the 2 he's going to look at.
Yep.
He does have the mana to take any of Aaron's cards hostage and immediately cast it. Unless, of course, Aaron, he has to respect that Blossoming Defense. Can't do much about it.
Yeah, there's a Blossoming Defense in hand. Brennan's just in a ton of trouble anyway.
Right. That's before the confiscation coup, which I don't think is on Brennan's radar here. Or even if it is, there's not much he can do about it. Brennan will take the Long Tusk Cub hostage. Likely just going to conscript that one into play. That's what he'll do. Long Tusk Cub works for him now. And so does Minister of Inquiries. But he's tapped out. Confiscation coup very flavorful in pirate decks.
A lot of stealing, a lot of plundering going on.
Yeah. And here we go. Here is the coup. He'll take God Pharaoh's Gift. This is so good.
Not bad.
Down to 8 energy. He controls it now.
Couple Rogue Refiners in the graveyard. That is a mighty nice one to bring back.
That is good. So it's just the 2 Rogue Refiners, it looks like, in the graveyard for Aaron. Easy enough.
And Barich peeled a 6th land, so he has Spell Pierce up here as well.
Great.
Don't know if that was going to do anything in this game.
Well, it means even if Brennan draws another Gate to the Afterlife, Aaron can pierce it, and then Brennan can't activate it this turn.
Sure.
That would be worthwhile.
Yeah, that'd be a big tempo swing.
So eternalizes a Rogue Refiner, and then Crew's Heart of Kiran. A big swing here from Aaron.
And Aaron's totally fine just getting some 4/4 to trade with Brennan's 4/4 Hostage Taker. That just means he has better attacks on the next turn. Aaron has another Rogue Refiner to bring back on the following turn. Things are looking really good for Barich.
Yeah. And it's going to be a trade of some eternalized creatures on Brennan's side. The Hostage Taker and the Rogue Refiner will trade. Looks like he's going to double block the Voltaic Brawler, and Voltaic Brawler's going to trade with Long Tusk Cub. And Brennan takes the 4 in the end off of Heart of Kiran. He'll drop to 7. We're back to DeCandio. Draws Angel of Invention. He doesn't have energy for the Aether Hub. He spent it on Long Tusk Cub last turn. He can't cast Angel. He has to cycle a land. Draws Champion of Wits. That's good.
Yeah, it's another chump blocker here, though. He's at 7. That's just 2 hits from the heart.
Right. And Champion doesn't do too much. You can't find the right source for Angel with it and keep Angel.
Right. He really wants to just find Gate to the Afterlife, but we know about the Spell Pierce in Barich's hand. That's going to be too late.
So Aaron discards Angel and land and plays a land. Empty-handed, he'll say go. Back over to Barich. Draws another Voltaic Brawler. He's got 2 Brawlers. He'll cast 1, crew the vehicle. Looks like he's going to eternalize another. Oh, nice. He's going to eternalize a Voltaic Brawler.
Okay.
Let's get some trample going.
Yeah, tramples and it attacks for 5.
And a swing here. That actually might, I don't know, check the damage here. This might be too much for him to deal with. Yeah, the best blocks are like this, and Harness Lightning will remove the blocker. Tramples over for 5, Heart of Kiran for 4. And Brennan's going to be dead to this attack. Oh, Aaron may have missed his trample trigger.
I got a little excited here.
Okay, looks like the judge is going to rule that he didn't actually declare it, so the Brawler doesn't have trample. The board trades, well, doesn't even really trade. Brennan drops to 3. He'll get 1 more turn.
Yeah, suppose he'll have to win next turn.
And there we go. There is the concession, and it is going to be Aaron Barich, 2 games to 1. He loses the first, but out of the sideboard takes both games, and a very timely confiscation coup from Barich sealed up that 3rd one.
Yeah, I would be pretty excited if I cooed my opponent's God Pharaoh's Gift as well.
That is nice.